This is my dog. His name is Ramon, and he's definitely a good boy. But I know what you're thinking. Why I'm talking about my dog right now? The thing is, after looking at my house, I started to realize that he has everything that an RPG has. For example, let me show you. He has different toys, or you can use it as weapons. For example, he has this weird shaped ball, different looking ball, ropes, meaning like different classes of weapon. Let's say that the ball can be used as a ranged weapon. And also, he has different equipment. This one, and he has this one. So I was thinking, why not making a game around it? So I started to create some pixel arts to see if I will be happy with the results, and to be honest, I like it pretty much. After that, I started to plan how the game would work, basically. I started to trying to understand the core loop mechanics, started to understand if this team would fit into an idle game. And I used Miro for that, so let me show you. Okay, the first thing that I did was starting to design the combat. I already had it basically figured out with my last game. If you missed that, please check my last video. It's about the idle game with no name. If you look at this combat and you play that game, you will see that they have a lot of similarities between them. They are basically inverted. Here, there is a portal, and this portal will be used to spawn monster. And here, there is a button that the player will be on top of it, killing the monster that will be spawning. But now we have more layers of complexity. There is ranges over here, meaning that different weapons have different ranges. So if I am with a melee weapon, maybe I have only one range, meaning that I will be able to attack only the monsters that are on this type. If I have a ranged weapon, depending on the level of the weapon, I could have 2 range or 3 range, but that's still too simple. How can I make it engaging? How can I make it more complex? So for that, I decided to add more layers. The first layer that I add connects directly with the combat. We already understood that we have monsters that will be spawned, but how can we control these monsters? How can we know if the monster will be easy to kill or if it will be harder to kill? So I created recipes. Here is how it's gonna work. Basically, you have like a tree, you have like a rock, and if you look at this, you have like a coal and a copper ore. If you collect some logs by chopping trees, you will be able to add these logs into the portal, and it will be a recipe to spawn a specific type of monster. Let me show you what I have currently here. This is just a sketch, so please take this with a grain of salt because it will be changed in the future. So basically, with the simple log, you will be able to spawn like a slime. And then you will be able to kill the slime and it will drop like a green jelly. And then if you mix the green jelly with the simple log, you'll be able to spawn like a wooden slime with a small rock dude, and I mean, it goes on and on and on. So now we have a mechanic of spawning enemies, but it is an idle game. How can we make it idle? For the collecting resources, it's easy. You click on it and wait. But for the portal, how can I make it possible to balance? I can't make it like super easy where you just collect one recipe and just leave it there. What I did is I created a mechanic to have a fuel. I can have this recipe and I also can have another resource to use as a fuel, and this resource will be equivalent to time. So let me use the example of a simple log that you get from this tree. Let's say that every log, if you use it as a fuel, will give to the player 1 second. If you get like 60 logs and you feed this portal with 60 logs, you will be able to be AFK for 1 minute. Of course, this is like a pretty small amount of number, but we will be increasing depending of the item, and it's just an example. Besides that, I added this mechanic to unlock new maps. When you start the game, you will start only in this part of the map, and then you will have to spend wood to unlock the other maps. And if you spend wood on this specific tile, it will unlock this entire section over here. And this is how you will explore the entire map of the game. Alright, I think that this is the basics. Let's jump straight to the game and show you what I have right now. Okay, so now we are inside Unity, and this is what I did in the last month. You can clearly see that there is some similarities between this and the Maya board. For example, this is the tile that you'll be able to unlock. This is a tree that you'll be able to collect resources. And this is the item necessary to unlock this tile. This icon specifically doesn't mean much because it's just a placeholder, but basically it is a log that you can obtain by chopping this tree. So let's try to do this. If I click on the tree, it will move to the tree and you will try to chop the tree, but it won't be able to do it because it doesn't have this tool. If I open my inventory, you will see that I have this tool here. I can equip this tool by right mouse button, or I can simply drag to it. If I click on the tree now, it will start this cooldown, and every time that this cooldown goes to 0, it will hit the tree. And every time that I hit the tree, it will decrease this bar over here. This bar represents the resistance of the resource, in this case the tree. Every time that this bar goes to 0, I will be collecting this resource. You can see that there is an pop-up going, right here, saying that I collected 1. If I open my inventory, you'll be able to see that here is the resources that I am collecting. Also, there is another interesting thing that you'll be able to notice, that this resource can be stackable into 5 stacks to every inventory slot. It will be increased later. This is just for tests. What I can do with these stacks, I can drag them around, I can hold shift and split them, and I can also use them to unlock these new tiles. So now that we have some items, let's play around this mechanic to unlock tiles. If I click on this tile, it will focus on it and open my inventory. The main idea behind it is to make it easy to drag my items on this slot. For this example, it requires 2 logs. I have 2 logs over here. If I drag it, it will unlock this tile. Now the next one also requires 2 logs. But what happens if I drag 3? It will use 2 and give me back these 2. The same thing happens if I have 1, for example. I can drag 1 and then another 1 and it unlocks. After I unlock this tile, it will unlock the second block. And this is the combat that I have been talking about in the Maya board. If you look at this, it is a portal and there is a battery to it. If I click on the portal, you will be able to see different recipes. I don't have the monster yet, but this is supposed to be the monster picture, monster face. And I have the fuel. If I drag, for example, the log to the fuel, you will be seeing that the time increased by 5. If I try to select this recipe, it will not allow me to select this recipe because I don't have this item. This recipe requires 1 log, the same way that this one requires 10 logs or this one requires 10 eggs. But first, let's grab some more logs to be able to actually use some recipes. Now we have more logs. We have 4 logs. With these 4 logs, it means that we can select this first recipe. If we select this recipe, you will see that 1 log is gone. And if we drag this to the fuel, we will have 15 seconds of AFK time. But how can we use this? If you look at this combat area, you will see a portal, a battery, which makes sense, that kind of feeds a portal, and this belt. The main idea is when the player is on this button, this belt will start moving and the monster will be spawning here, and the monster will be moved to move closer to the player until you reach to the point when you can kill the monster. Let me show you. Now that the player is on top of it, the time is starting to be consumed and the monsters are starting to be spawned. And you can clearly see that the monster is not a square. I mean, it is a square right now, but it shouldn't be a square. And the way that it works is the monsters is spawning and
You see this? This is a bug. I will fix it later. But the monster is spawning. The time is going to go to 0 because I already spent my 15 seconds. And as the monster comes to this spot, the player will be able to fight the monster and then get the loot. With the loot, you'll be able to unlock different recipes, and with different recipes, you will be able to unlock more loot, craft your items, and get it better, get it stronger, and progress into the game. So, if you like this content and you want to continue to follow my journey into this development, please don't forget to subscribe. I will try to post a video every month or every 2 weeks or every time that I have something meaningful to share. I also have a Discord channel. The link will be in the description. And on my Discord channel, you will be able to follow my development daily. So thank you for watching and see you in the next time.